upper vivarium to the playground of science. Good, won't you?
Hiya, Jim, how's the boy?
Hello, Bud! The same old Bud. That's a new one, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it a beaut? Hello, Jim.
Hello, Mrs. Harrison. How are you, Mrs. Middleton?
Oh, Jim, it's so good to see you. You're looking fine.
It's good to see you again. Hello, Mr. Middleton. How are you?
Full of air, Jim. You're certainly a sight for sore eyes.
It's sure grand to see somebody from the old hometown. When'd you get in?
Just last night. Your father and mother saw us off. They said if we didn't look you up the first thing, they'd never speak to us again. Say, Jim, just what do you do around here? Are you a boss or something?
Well, not exactly, but I'm sort of backstop for the guys. When they can't answer a question, I take a crack at it. If I don't know it, I look it up, which is often.
Gee, I didn't know you were that smart.
I'm not, Bud. But you see, before the fair opened, we took a special course of instruction to prepare us for the questions the company thought might be asked.
Well, do they stick you very often?
And how? Why, just this morning, a lady asked me how long it would take to read the microfile in the time capsule.
We've been reading a lot about the time capsule. Could we take a look at it?
Why, sure. We can get to it this way.
Oh.
Time capsule of cupuli, deposited on the site of the New York World's Fair on September 23rd, 1938, by the Westinghouse Electric and Manufacturing Company. If anyone should come upon this capsule before the year AD 6939, let him not wantonly disturb it, for to do so would be to deprive the people of that era of the legacy here left them. Cherish it, therefore, in a safe place.
5,000 years from now, the peoples of the future will look back on us as we look back on the early Egyptians and Babylonians. The time capsule down there is actually a message from our time to theirs. Those who open and study it will know more about us than any man living today.
But, Jim, how in the world do you know it'll last so long?
Because the copper tools of the ancients have come down to us from even farther back. The capsule is made of a still better copper alloy called cupuli. It's hard as steel and equal to pure copper in resistance to corrosion.
Well, what I'm wondering is how anybody will know how to find it in the year, what was it, 6939?
How to find it, what's in it. In fact, everything about it was printed in the book of record of the time capsule. It's on permanent paper and it's been distributed throughout the world. To libraries, museums, lamasseries, monasteries, temples, every safe place imaginable.
Well, who picked the stuff that was to go in it, Jim?
A committee, aided by authorities in every field of science and the arts. It's a complete record of our civilization.
Is this exactly like the capsule?
Yes, and it's cut away so you can see how it's packed. These side cases show you the variety of things in it.
Look, there's a woman's fan.
The ladies have to reveal a lot about us to future scientists.
It sure will. They'll think we're nuts.
Are these little reels the microfile?
Yes. It's hard to believe, but on these small reels of film are reproduced all these books, papers, and magazines. It's a record of 10 million words and 1,000 pictures.
Well, how will they read them?
A small microscope is included. But there are also instructions how to make a large reading machine. Also, how to make a motion picture projector for the 3 special newsreels.
I suppose cloth and things like that are in it, too.
Everything from samples of fabrics to a dozen different kinds of common seeds.
I bet a nickel I know something that isn't in it. Mickey Mouse.
You'd lose, Bud. Mickey Mouse, Dick Tracy, Barney Google, they're all there. Even toys and money. Why, the list of contents alone takes up 17 pages of fine print.
Boy, they weren't fooling when they made that capsule, were they?
It's the brains of the world done up in a small package. And it's the most permanent exhibit at the fair. It'll still be here when the rest of this place is nothing but dust.
That's remarkable. Have you got time to show some of the other sites, Jim?
All you can use.
You men go along. Jane wants to write some postcards home. We'll look around and meet you later.
Well, that's the writing room over there, the glass enclosed room. Thought you'd like to enter our letter writing contest.
Letter writing contest? What's that, Jim?
Well, both the folks who write and receive the best letters home from the fair each week are awarded cash prizes. The winners are announced every Sunday evening during our Letters Home radio program.
Say, see if you can get me the dope on that contest while you're over there. I might just as well have some of that cash as the next guy.
Pretty sure of yourself, aren't you, Bud?
Well, they can't shoot you for trying. Well, looks like the shop of old Watch the Bertie Schultz. Remember him, Jim? 6 deluxe portraits for $1.
Well, you'd better take another look. He never had a camera like that one. That's a television camera.
Holy smokes, does it work?
Of course. You go down there, Mr. Middleton. You can see and hear Bud on a whole row of television receivers.
You better be good.
Bud, this is Frank Wells. Frank, this is Bud Middleton from the old hometown.
Hiya, Bud.
Hiya.
Now just act and talk naturally.
Oh, is it going?
It's on.
Hiya, folks. This is Clark Gable Middleton speaking. As you can see if you've got your television sets turned on.
What state are you from, Bud?
Indiana, the greatest state in the world. And if Grover Whalen's listening in, New York's okay, too.
Well, what do you think of the fair?
Well, as a guy I once studied about said, I came, I saw, and I'm almost conquered. How am I doing, Dad?
We call this the playground of science, but it really covers a lot of our normal research activities. Most of the exhibits are made so the visitors can operate them.
Built-in watchman. Well, what's it do?
The bimetal discs like these are used for the control of current in our electric irons, refrigerators, and other home devices. They save you money by shutting off the current as soon as the right temperature has been reached.
Well, that's a new one on me.
They're used by the millions, only they're hidden in the appliances where you can't see them.
Oh, what's that?
Well, that's the pantoscope.
Say, Jim, don't you ever feel bad about passing up that chance to play pro football?
Well, once in a while, I get the urge to plow into a line. But outside of that, there's more kick to this game.
Oh, you don't have to kid an old friend of the family.
I guess it must be pretty interesting.
What gets under your skin about research is the attitude of the men in the labs. They work on the principle that nothing is impossible.
You hear that, Bud?
Oh, sure, but I don't believe it.
Open your eyes, Bud. The proof's all around you. Why, the whole fair is a product of research.
Uh-huh.
One can't help marveling at all the new things they're inventing every day.
A company can't stand still under the American system of private enterprise. It has two ways to go, back or forward. If it can make better products than the other fellow, it moves ahead. If it can't, the other fellow gets the business. But in either case, the public benefits.
You mean in better goods?
Yes. That's where fellows like me come in. In our research labs, we have four main jobs. We must constantly improve our existing products, so more people will be enabled to buy them. We must try to lower their cost by cutting waste of effort and material. Then we must anticipate the demand for new products before people realize they need them.
Well, that's only 3 jobs, Jim. I kept counting.
The last is industrial prospecting. Like prospecting for oil or gold. Sometimes we hit gushers, like radio, mechanical refrigeration, or air conditioning. Then 100 new industries spring up and thousands of new jobs are created. And another boost is given to our standard of living.
Just remember that, Bud.
Well, here's something else that might interest you, Bud. Here's the oscilloscope. Talk or blow or whatever you did before into the mic, and you'll see your voice projected on the screen.
Tell me, Jim, do you honestly believe that industry can make enough jobs in the future to take care of the young people that are coming along?
I think the problem is going to be the other way around. Industry will make so many jobs there won't be enough people to fill them. So you don't believe me, do you?
Well, you sound like you're in cahoots with Dad. From all I
You're
heard...
liable to hear anything these days. You're willing to sit back and let a lot of self-appointed leaders do your thinking for you.
Yeah, well, they believe we're on the skid.
Yes, and the men who built this fair believe the opposite. And what's more, they back up their belief with $200 million worth of facts.
Well, maybe the other side would, too, if they weren't busted.
And they'll stay that way, till they learn that prosperity and pessimism don't travel together. But they're like you, Bud. They don't like facts.
Oh, I don't mind them, Jim.
Good. Then I'll introduce you to a few. Come along.